For years, the house stood quietly among neighboring homes, appearing from the outside to be just another ordinary residence. People passed by without realizing that behind its walls, a heartbreaking situation was unfolding. Then, in a single day, everything changed. What authorities discovered inside would shock the local community and quickly make headlines across the country. 16 children were found living in conditions that officials described as severely neglected and unsafe, prompting an immediate emergency response and a major child welfare investigation. First responders entered the home expecting to conduct a routine welfare check. Instead, they encountered an environment that raised immediate concerns for the children's health and safety. Reports from investigators described the living conditions as deplorable, with the home showing signs of extreme neglect. Officers and child protection workers acted quickly, recognizing that the children required immediate medical attention, proper care, and a safe place to stay. The discovery left even experienced investigators shaken. Cases involving child neglect are always difficult, but the number of children involved made this situation especially alarming. Authorities worked carefully to account for every child, ensuring each one was safely removed from the property and evaluated by medical professionals. Child welfare agencies coordinated with emergency responders to provide food, clean clothing, health care, and temporary shelter while the investigation began. As news of the rescue spread, the surrounding community struggled to understand how such conditions could have existed without wider awareness. Neighbors expressed disbelief, wondering whether there had been warning signs that went unnoticed. Across social media and television broadcasts, people reacted with a mixture of shock, sadness, and concern for the children's future. While investigators began gathering evidence and determining how long the children had been living under these conditions, one priority stood above all others: protecting the children and ensuring they received the care and support they needed. The discovery served as a powerful reminder that behind closed doors, vulnerable children can sometimes endure unimaginable hardships, making community awareness and timely intervention essential to preventing similar tragedies. Authorities did not simply stumble upon the children by chance. According to publicly reported information, the discovery occurred after concerns about the home prompted law enforcement and child welfare officials to investigate. Acting on information that suggested the children's well-being might be at risk, officers responded to the property to conduct a welfare check. These checks are designed to ensure that children or vulnerable individuals are safe when credible concerns are raised about their living conditions or care. When officials arrived, they began assessing the situation and quickly realized that the circumstances inside the home were far more serious than initially expected. As they moved through the residence, they found numerous children living together in an environment that investigators later described as unsafe and severely neglected. Recognizing the urgency of the situation, officers immediately requested additional assistance from emergency responders, child protective services, and medical personnel. The priority shifted from investigating the home to protecting the children. Authorities carefully identified each child, ensuring that no one was overlooked. Medical teams conducted initial health assessments to determine whether any of the children required urgent treatment, while child welfare workers focused on providing reassurance and arranging temporary care. Every step was taken with the children's safety and emotional well-being in mind. Once the children had been safely removed from the residence, investigators secured the property to document the conditions inside. Photographs, physical evidence, and witness statements became part of a broader investigation, aimed at understanding how the situation had developed and whether any laws had been violated. Officials also began interviewing adults connected to the household while coordinating with prosecutors and child welfare agencies. The discovery highlighted the importance of community vigilance. Welfare checks often begin because someone notices unusual circumstances and decides to report them. While not every report uncovers serious neglect, authorities encourage people to speak up when they have genuine concerns about a child's safety. In this case, that intervention ultimately led to the children being removed from an environment officials believed posed significant risks to their health and welfare, allowing them to begin receiving the care and protection they needed. According to statements released by investigators, the home's condition raised immediate concerns for the health and safety of everyone inside. Officials described the environment as deplorable, a term they reserve for situations involving severe neglect and conditions that fall well below basic standards of safe living. While investigators have continued documenting evidence, they indicated that the condition of the residents required urgent intervention to protect the children. As officers and child welfare workers moved through the home, they observed conditions that they believed posed potential health risks. The residents reportedly showed signs of poor sanitation and neglect, leading authorities to determine that the children could not safely remain there while the investigation continued. Because the case involves minors, officials have not publicly disclosed every detail about the interior of the home, choosing instead to focus on protecting the children's privacy and the integrity of the investigation. Emergency responders acted quickly after evaluating the scene. Their immediate priority was removing the children from the residence and ensuring they received medical evaluations, food, clean clothing, and a safe place to stay. Child welfare professionals also began assessing each child's physical and emotional needs, recognizing that children removed from neglectful environments often require ongoing support beyond their immediate rescue. Investigators documented the home's condition through photographs, evidence collection, and detailed reports that will likely become part of the legal process. Those findings are expected to help determine whether criminal charges or other legal actions are appropriate. Authorities emphasize that the investigation is intended not only to establish what occurred, but also to ensure the children's long-term safety. The case serves as a reminder that neglect is not always immediately visible from outside a home. Some families may appear ordinary to neighbors, while serious problems remain hidden behind closed doors. For that reason, officials encourage members of the public to report credible concerns about child welfare rather than assuming someone else will act. Early intervention can make a critical difference, giving vulnerable children the opportunity to receive protection, medical care, and the support they need to begin recovering in a safer environment. Once authorities determined that the children were living in conditions they believed were unsafe, the situation quickly shifted from an investigation to an emergency rescue effort. Law enforcement officers, emergency medical personnel, and child welfare professionals worked together to remove every child from the home as safely and calmly as possible. Their primary objective was to protect the children while minimizing additional fear or trauma during an already overwhelming experience. Officers carefully escorted the children out of the residence one by one, making sure each child was accounted for. Medical teams conducted initial health assessments at the scene, checking for signs of illness, injury, dehydration, or other immediate medical concerns. Any child requiring further evaluation was transported to a medical facility, while others were placed under the care of Child Protective Services to ensure their basic needs were met without delay. Child welfare workers played a vital role throughout the operation. They spoke with the children in an age-appropriate and reassuring manner, explaining that they were being taken somewhere safe. Clean clothing, food, water, and comfort items were provided as quickly as possible, recognizing that many of the children may have been frightened or confused by the sudden presence of emergency responders. At the same time, investigators secured the property to preserve evidence. Detectives documented the condition of the home, photographed relevant areas, and began collecting information that could help determine how long the children had been living in those circumstances. Witness interviews and evidence collection started immediately, laying the foundation for the ongoing investigation. Once all of the children had been safely removed, authorities coordinated with local child protection agencies to arrange temporary placements, while officials worked to identify appropriate long-term care options. Medical professionals, social workers, and counselors were brought in to evaluate each child's physical health and emotional well-being, understanding that recovery from neglect often requires continued support. The operation reflected the coordinated efforts of multiple agencies working toward a single goal, ensuring that every child was safe. While the investigation into the circumstances surrounding the home continued, the successful removal of the children marked the beginning of a new chapter focused on protection, care, and the hope of a safer future. The discovery of 16 children living in conditions that authorities described as deplorable is more than a single criminal investigation. It is a reminder of a broader responsibility shared by every community. While law enforcement and child welfare agencies play a critical role in protecting vulnerable children, they cannot do it alone. Teachers, healthcare workers, neighbors, relatives, and community members are often the first to notice when something seems wrong. Paying attention to warning signs and reporting genuine concerns can make the difference between continued suffering and timely intervention. One of the most important lessons is that appearances can be misleading. A house may look ordinary from the outside, while serious neglect or abuse remains hidden within its walls. This reality challenges the assumption that someone else will notice or that authorities are already aware of the situation. In many cases, child welfare investigations begin because one person chose to speak up after observing something unusual. Although not every report uncovers abuse or neglect, making a good faith report allows trained professionals to assess whether children are safe. The case also highlights the importance of investing in child protection services. Social workers, emergency responders, healthcare professionals, and law enforcement officers often face demanding workloads while responding to complex situations involving vulnerable children. Providing these professionals with adequate training, staffing, and resources strengthens their ability to respond quickly and effectively when concerns arise. Communities that support these services are better equipped to protect children before situations become severe. Another lesson is that rescuing children is only the beginning. Recovery from neglect often requires ongoing medical care, counseling, educational support, and stable living environments. Children who have experienced prolonged hardship may need months or even years of consistent care to regain a sense of safety and normalcy. Ensuring that these services remain available is an essential part of helping them heal and build healthier futures. Ultimately, this case serves as a powerful reminder that every child deserves a safe home, proper care, and the opportunity to grow in a healthy environment. Protecting children is not solely the responsibility of government agencies. It is a shared commitment that depends on awareness, compassion, and the willingness of ordinary people to act when they have credible concerns about a child's well-being. The discovery of 16 children living in conditions that authorities considered unsafe is a sobering reminder that some of the most serious hardships can remain hidden behind closed doors. While the investigation will determine the legal responsibilities of those involved, the immediate focus has rightly been on ensuring the children's safety, health, and well-being. Their removal from the home marked the end of one difficult chapter, but it also signaled the beginning of a long journey toward recovery, stability, and hope. Cases like this often leave communities asking the same difficult questions. How could this happen? Were there warning signs that went unnoticed? Could earlier intervention have changed the outcome? While there are rarely simple answers, these questions encourage communities to reflect on the importance of remaining attentive to the welfare of children and supporting the systems designed to protect them. It is also important to remember that every child deserves more than just survival. Every child deserves a safe place to sleep, nutritious food, access to health care, education, emotional support, and the opportunity to grow in an environment free from fear and neglect. When those basic needs are not met, the effects can extend far beyond childhood, influencing physical health, emotional development, and future opportunities. That is why protecting children is one of society's most important responsibilities. The professionals who responded to this case, including law enforcement officers, emergency medical personnel, child welfare workers, and healthcare providers, demonstrated the value of coordinated action during a crisis. Their efforts ensured that the children were removed from immediate danger and connected with the care and protection they needed. At the same time, the ongoing investigation seeks to establish the facts and ensure accountability through the legal process. As the case moves forward, the focus should remain on the children's recovery rather than the headlines. They deserve privacy, compassion, and every opportunity to heal from their experiences. Their story is not only a reminder of the consequences of severe neglect, but also a call for continued vigilance, community awareness, and support for child protection efforts. By working together and taking credible concerns seriously, communities can help ensure that vulnerable children are identified sooner, protected more quickly, and given the chance to build safer, healthier, and brighter futures. As we grow older, our bodies undergo natural changes that affect the way medications work. After the age of 60, the heart, kidneys, liver, and blood vessels no longer function exactly as they did in younger years. The liver breaks down medications more slowly, and the kidneys remove them from the body less efficiently. Because of these changes, drugs can stay in the bloodstream longer, increasing the likelihood of side effects and unwanted complications. A medication that once seemed completely safe may now require a lower dose or closer monitoring. This is why older adults should never assume that a medicine is harmless simply because it is available over the counter or has been used for many years. Every pill has benefits, but every pill also carries risks, especially when the body becomes more sensitive with age. One of the most commonly used medications after 60 is the group known as non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, or NSAIDs. These medicines are often taken to relieve arthritis, joint pain, muscle aches, headaches, or back pain. While they can be effective at reducing pain and inflammation, they are not without danger. Research has shown that frequent or long-term use of certain NSAIDs may increase the risk of heart attack and stroke, particularly in people who already have high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, or high cholesterol. These medications can cause the body to retain salt and water, leading to higher blood pressure and making the heart work harder. they may also reduce blood flow to the kidneys, creating additional strain on the cardiovascular system. What begins as a simple pill for knee pain may gradually place unnecessary stress on the heart if used regularly without medical supervision. Many older adults unknowingly take more NSAIDs than recommended because these medications are found in numerous products. A person might take one tablet for arthritis in the morning and another cold or flu medicine later in the day without realizing both contain similar ingredients. This accidental doubling of medication increases the chance of harmful side effects. Reading labels carefully and discussing all medications with a healthcare provider or pharmacist is one of the simplest ways to avoid these hidden dangers. If pain persists for weeks or months, it is important to identify the underlying cause rather than relying on painkillers every day. Another category of medications that deserves attention includes certain decongestant pills used to treat nasal congestion caused by colds, allergies, or sinus infections. These medications work by narrowing blood vessels inside the nose to reduce swelling and improve breathing. However, they do not act only in the nose. They can narrow blood vessels throughout the body, causing blood pressure to rise and making the heart beat faster. For a healthy young adult, this temporary effect may not cause significant problems. But for someone over 60 who already has high blood pressure, coronary artery disease, or an irregular heartbeat, this extra workload on the heart may increase the risk of serious cardiovascular events. Before taking any cold or allergy medication, older adults should always check with a healthcare professional to ensure it is safe for their individual medical condition. Hormone therapy is another treatment that requires careful consideration. Some women use estrogen or combined hormone therapy to relieve menopausal symptoms such as hot flashes, night sweats, or vaginal dryness. While these medications can improve quality of life for certain individuals, they are not appropriate for everyone. Depending on a person's age, medical history, and the type of hormone therapy used, there may be an increased risk of blood clots, stroke, or heart disease. This does not mean hormone therapy is always dangerous, but it should only be used after a thorough discussion with a qualified healthcare provider who can carefully evaluate the potential benefits and risks. Regular follow-up appointments are essential to determine whether continuing treatment remains the safest choice. Certain stimulant medications and weight loss pills also require caution after the age of 60. These medications may increase heart rate and blood pressure by stimulating the nervous system. In an older heart that may already have narrowed arteries or reduced pumping efficiency, this additional stress can become significant. Some people may notice symptoms such as rapid heartbeat, palpitations, chest discomfort, anxiety, or shortness of breath. These warning signs should never be ignored, as they may indicate that the heart is struggling to cope with the medication. Weight management is important, but healthy eating, regular physical activity, and medical guidance are much safer long-term strategies than relying on stimulant-based products. Blood thinners and antiplatelet medications represent another group that must be used with great care. Medicines prescribed to prevent blood clots have saved countless lives by reducing the risk of heart attack and stroke in people with certain medical conditions. However, these medications also increase the risk of bleeding if taken incorrectly or combined with other drugs that affect clotting. Taking additional pain relievers, certain herbal supplements, or even high doses of some vitamins without medical advice may increase the chance of dangerous bleeding. Some people mistakenly stop taking blood thinners because they notice bruising or minor bleeding, while others take extra doses because they believe it will provide better protection. Both actions can be harmful, Blood-thinning medications should only be adjusted under the guidance of the prescribing physician. An often overlooked issue is the interaction between multiple medications. Many adults over 60 take medicines for blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, arthritis, sleep problems, or digestive disorders all at the same time. While each medication may be appropriate individually, combining several drugs increases the possibility of interactions that can affect the heart and blood vessels. Certain combinations may raise blood pressure, alter heart rhythm, reduce the effectiveness of important medications, or increase the risk of bleeding. Herbal supplements and natural remedies can also interact with prescription medications. Because these products are sold without a prescription, many people assume they are completely safe, but natural does not always mean harmless. Informing your healthcare provider about every pill, vitamin, supplement, and herbal product you take is one of the most important steps in preventing dangerous interactions. The safest approach to medication after 60 is regular review and careful communication with your healthcare team. At least once a year, or whenever a new medication is prescribed, ask your doctor or pharmacist to review everything you are taking. Bring all prescription medications, over-the-counter products, vitamins, and supplements to the appointment. Ask whether any medicine is still necessary, whether the dose should be adjusted, or whether a safer alternative is available. Never stop a prescribed medication suddenly unless your healthcare provider specifically instructs you to do so. Likewise, never begin taking a new pill based solely on a friend's recommendation or an advertisement you saw online or on television. The good news is that the knowledge gives you the power to make safer decisions. Medications remain one of the greatest achievements in modern medicine, and many have dramatically improved both quality of life and life expectancy. The key is using them wisely. Taking the right medication at the right dose for the right reason under proper medical supervision can protect your health rather than threaten it. By staying informed, asking questions, attending regular medical checkups, and understanding that even common pills carry potential risks, you greatly reduce your chances of experiencing a preventable heart attack or stroke. Your goal is not to fear medication, but to respect its power, use it responsibly, and work closely with your healthcare provider to keep your heart strong and healthy throughout the years ahead. One of the greatest mistakes people make after the age of 60 is assuming that warning signs of serious heart or brain problems are simply part of getting older. Many older adults dismiss chest discomfort as indigestion, shortness of breath as fatigue, dizziness as dehydration, or sudden weakness as a normal consequence of aging. Unfortunately, these assumptions can be deadly. A heart attack and a stroke are both medical emergencies that require immediate attention. Every minute matters because the longer the heart or brain is deprived of oxygen-rich blood, the greater the damage becomes. Learning to recognize the warning signs early can mean the difference between a full recovery and permanent disability, or even the loss of life. Understanding these symptoms is one of the most valuable tools you can have to protect yourself and your loved ones. A heart attack occurs when blood flow to a portion of the heart muscle becomes blocked, usually because a fatty plaque inside a coronary artery ruptures and forms a blood clot. Without oxygen, the affected heart muscle begins to die within minutes. Contrary to what many people believe, a heart attack does not always begin with sudden, crushing chest pain. In many older adults, especially women and people with diabetes, the symptoms may be much more subtle. Some experience only mild pressure, tightness, or discomfort in the center of the chest that lasts for several minutes or comes and goes. Others may notice pain spreading to the shoulders, arms, neck, jaw, or back. Some feel an overwhelming sense of fatigue, nausea, cold sweats, lightheadedness, or difficulty breathing. Because these symptoms may seem mild at first, people often delay seeking help, hoping they will disappear. That delay can have serious consequences. Shortness of breath deserves special attention because it is one of the most common warning signs of heart disease in older adults. If climbing a few stairs, walking a short distance, or performing simple household tasks suddenly becomes much more difficult than usual, your heart may be struggling to pump blood effectively. Some people notice they become breathless while lying flat or wake up at night gasping for air. Others experience swelling in their feet, ankles, or legs due to fluid buildup caused by an overworked heart. While these symptoms do not always indicate a heart attack, they should never be ignored because they may signal heart failure or other serious cardiovascular conditions that require prompt medical evaluation. A stroke occurs when blood flow to the brain is interrupted, either because a blood vessel becomes blocked by a clot or because a blood vessel ruptures and bleeds into the brain. Since different parts of the brain control different functions, stroke symptoms can vary depending on which area is affected. However, there are several warning signs that everyone should know. Sudden numbness or weakness on one side of the face, arm, or leg is one of the most common. A person may smile unevenly because one side of the face droops. They may suddenly be unable to lift one arm or may lose strength in one leg. Speech may become slurred, confused, or difficult to understand. Some people suddenly lose vision in one or both eyes, experience double vision, or have trouble walking due to loss of balance or coordination. Others develop a sudden, severe headache unlike anything they have ever experienced before. Medical experts often use the simple acronym FAST to help people remember the warning signs of a stroke. F stands for face drooping. Ask the person to smile and see whether one side of the face appears uneven. A stands for arm weakness. Ask the person to raise both arms and notice whether one arm drifts downward. S stands for speech difficulty. Listen for slurred or strange speech and ask the person to repeat a simple sentence. T stands for time to call emergency medical services immediately. The faster treatment begins, the greater the chance of saving brain tissue and reducing long-term disability. Delaying treatment by even an hour can significantly affect recovery because millions of brain cells may be lost every minute during a stroke. After the age of 60, the risk of heart attack and stroke naturally increases because of changes that occur inside the body over time. Arteries gradually become stiffer and less flexible, making it more difficult for blood to flow freely. Fatty deposits known as plaques may accumulate inside blood vessels over many years, narrowing the arteries and reducing blood supply to the heart and brain. High blood pressure can weaken blood vessel walls, while diabetes may damage both large and small blood vessels. Elevated cholesterol contributes to plaque buildup, and smoking accelerates damage to the arteries. Even if these conditions have caused no symptoms for years, they quietly increase the likelihood of a sudden cardiovascular emergency later in life. Family history also plays an important role in determining risk. If parents or siblings developed heart disease or suffered a stroke at an early age, the chances of experiencing similar problems may be higher. Although genetics cannot be changed, lifestyle choices remain extremely powerful. A healthy diet, regular exercise, maintaining a healthy weight, controlling blood pressure and blood sugar, avoiding tobacco, and taking prescribed medications correctly can significantly lower the risk, even for people with a strong family history. This means that while age and genetics influence your risk, they do not completely determine your future. Many people believe they would always recognize a heart attack or stroke immediately, but that is not always true. Some heart attacks are described as silent because they produce only mild symptoms or none at all. Likewise, a transient ischemic attack often called a mini stroke, may cause temporary symptoms that disappear within minutes or hours. Because these symptoms improve on their own, many people fail to seek medical attention. However, a mini stroke is often a serious warning that a major stroke could occur within days or weeks if preventive treatment is not started. Every unexplained episode of weakness, numbness, speech difficulty, or vision loss should be evaluated by a healthcare professional without delay, even if the symptoms resolve completely. Preventing heart attack and stroke requires paying attention to the body's signals before a crisis develops. Routine medical checkups allow doctors to identify high blood pressure, abnormal cholesterol, diabetes, irregular heart rhythms, and other hidden conditions that increase cardiovascular risk. Regular blood tests, blood pressure monitoring, and heart examinations provide valuable information that helps guide treatment. Taking prescribed medications consistently, following dietary recommendations, staying physically active, reducing stress, getting enough sleep, and avoiding excessive alcohol all contribute to healthier blood vessels and a stronger heart. Small daily choices often have a greater impact on long-term health than dramatic changes made only after illness appears. Perhaps the most important message is this: never try to wait it out when warning signs appear. If you experience chest pain, sudden shortness of breath, unexplained weakness, facial drooping, difficulty speaking, loss of balance, or sudden vision changes, seek emergency medical care immediately. Do not attempt to drive yourself if symptoms are severe, and do not wait for the discomfort to pass. Modern treatments for heart attack and stroke are far more effective when given early, often preventing permanent damage and saving lives. Recognizing the symptoms, acting quickly, and encouraging loved ones to do the same may be one of the most important decisions you ever make. Awareness is not about living in fear. It is about being prepared, responding wisely, and giving yourself the best possible chance to enjoy many more healthy years with those you love. Protecting your heart after the age of 60 is not about finding one miracle pill or one perfect diet. It is about making a series of smart, consistent decisions every single day. While certain medications can reduce the risk of heart attack and stroke when prescribed appropriately, they can also become harmful if they are taken incorrectly, combined with the wrong medicines, or used without proper medical supervision. The safest approach is to become an active partner in your own healthcare. Understanding why you take each medication, following the prescribed dosage, and attending regular medical checkups are some of the most effective ways to protect your heart and brain as you age. One of the first habits every older adult should develop is keeping an up-to-date list of all medications. This includes prescription drugs, over-the-counter medicines, vitamins, herbal supplements, and even natural remedies. Many people visit different doctors for different health conditions, and not every healthcare provider automatically knows what another doctor has prescribed. By carrying a complete medication list to every appointment, you help your healthcare team identify possible drug interactions, duplicate prescriptions, or medicines that may no longer be necessary. A simple written list or a medication organizer can prevent mistakes that might otherwise lead to serious health complications. Another important rule is to take medications exactly as prescribed. Never increase the dose because you think the medicine is not working fast enough, and never reduce or skip doses simply because you feel better. Some medications, especially those for blood pressure, cholesterol, heart rhythm disorders, and blood thinning, continue working behind the scenes even when you have no symptoms. Stopping these medicines suddenly can increase the risk of heart attack, stroke, dangerous blood pressure spikes, or irregular heart rhythms. If you experience side effects, do not discontinue the medication on your own. Instead, contact your healthcare provider who can adjust the dose or recommend a safer alternative if necessary. Self-medication is another common mistake that becomes increasingly risky after 60. Many people purchase pain relievers, cold medicines, sleep aids, or herbal supplements without realizing these products can interact with prescription medications. Even something as common as an over-the-counter painkiller may increase blood pressure or interfere with blood-thinning medications. Herbal products marketed as natural can also affect heart rhythm, blood clotting, or the way prescription drugs are processed by the liver. Before starting any new medication or supplement, it is always wise to ask your doctor or pharmacist whether it is safe for your specific medical condition. Regular medical checkups are one of the strongest defenses against heart disease and stroke. High blood pressure is often called the silent killer because it usually causes no symptoms until serious damage has already occurred. High cholesterol can quietly narrow arteries for years without causing pain. Diabetes may slowly damage blood vessels throughout the body long before noticeable symptoms appear. Routine screenings allow these conditions to be detected early, giving you the opportunity to begin treatment before complications develop. Measuring blood pressure, checking cholesterol levels, monitoring blood sugar, and evaluating kidney function are all essential parts of protecting cardiovascular health after the age of 60. Nutrition also plays a powerful role in keeping the heart healthy. A diet rich in vegetables, fruits, whole grains, beans, nuts, fish, and lean sources of protein provides the nutrients your heart needs while helping reduce inflammation and improve blood vessel function. Healthy fats from foods such as olive oil, avocados, and certain nuts can support cardiovascular health when eaten in moderation. At the same time, limiting foods high in saturated fat, trans fat, added sugar, and excess salt helps control blood pressure and cholesterol. Processed foods, fast food, sugary beverages, and heavily salted snacks should become occasional treats rather than daily habits. Small improvements in diet, maintained consistently over time, often produce significant long-term benefits. Physical activity is equally important. Many people believe they are too old to exercise, but the opposite is often true. Regular movement strengthens the heart muscle, improves circulation, lowers blood pressure, helps control weight, reduces stress, and improves balance and flexibility. Walking is one of the safest and most effective forms of exercise for many older adults. Even 30 minutes of moderate walking on most days of the week can significantly improve heart health. Those with medical conditions should speak with their healthcare provider before beginning a new exercise program, but remaining physically active within your abilities is one of the greatest gifts you can give your cardiovascular system. Maintaining a healthy weight also reduces strain on the heart. Excess body weight forces the heart to pump harder to supply oxygen throughout the body, increasing the risk of hypertension, diabetes, and high cholesterol. Weight loss does not have to be dramatic to produce meaningful health improvements. Losing even a modest amount of weight through healthier eating and regular physical activity can lower blood pressure, improve blood sugar control, and reduce cardiovascular risk. The goal should always be gradual, sustainable changes rather than extreme diets or quick fixes. Avoiding tobacco in every form remains one of the most important steps for protecting your heart. Smoking damages the lining of blood vessels, raises blood pressure, reduces oxygen levels in the blood, and accelerates the buildup of fatty plaques inside the arteries. Even exposure to secondhand smoke can increase cardiovascular risk. The benefits of quitting begin almost immediately. Within weeks, circulation improves, blood pressure becomes easier to control, and the heart no longer has to work as hard. Regardless of age, stopping smoking remains one of the most effective ways to reduce the likelihood of heart attack and stroke. Managing stress and getting enough sleep are often overlooked but essential parts of heart health. Chronic stress triggers the release of hormones that can raise blood pressure and heart rate over time. Poor sleep has also been linked to hypertension, obesity, diabetes, and increased cardiovascular risk. Developing healthy coping strategies such as walking, spending time with family, practicing relaxation techniques, reading, gardening, or engaging in enjoyable hobbies can reduce stress levels naturally. Aim for consistent, high-quality sleep each night as the heart and blood vessels repair and recover during restful sleep. Alcohol should also be consumed with caution. Excessive drinking can increase blood pressure, weaken the heart muscle, contribute to irregular heart rhythms, and interfere with certain medications. If you choose to drink alcohol, discuss safe limits with your healthcare provider, especially if you take medications for heart disease, diabetes, or high blood pressure. For many older adults, limiting or avoiding alcohol altogether may be the healthiest decision. Finally, never ignore warning signs that suggest something may be wrong. Chest pain, pressure, sudden shortness of breath, pain spreading to the arm or jaw, facial drooping, slurred speech, sudden weakness, severe dizziness, or unexplained vision changes should always be treated as medical emergencies. Calling emergency medical services immediately can save heart muscle, preserve brain function, and dramatically improve the chances of recovery. Modern medicine has made tremendous advances in treating heart attack and stroke, but these treatments work best when patients seek help without delay. The greatest lesson is that protecting your heart after 60 is not about living in fear of every medication or every symptom. It is about becoming informed, staying proactive, and making wise choices each day. Take your medications exactly as prescribed, review them regularly with your healthcare provider, eat nourishing foods, stay physically active, avoid tobacco, manage stress, sleep well, and never ignore the body's warning signals. These simple but powerful habits work together to reduce your risk of heart attack and stroke, helping you remain active, independent, and able to enjoy life's precious moments with the people you love. Healthy aging is not determined by luck alone. It is built through daily decisions that strengthen the heart, protect the brain, and support a longer, healthier future.